What if I told you Apple's thinnest iPhone ever isn't just a fashion statement, but could actually be the most exciting iPhone in years? Forget the Pro and Pro Max hype for a second, because there's a new underdog quietly rewriting Apple's playbook. This is the iPhone 17 Air, a device so slim it feels futuristic, yet powerful enough to rival the flagships. And the big question is, can Apple really deliver performance and battery life inside something this impossibly thin? Let's dive in and find out. Before watching, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel Tech Insights so that you can get notified on daily tech updates. The iPhone 17 Air might just be the biggest curveball Apple has thrown in a while. For years, the lineup has been predictable: base models for the masses, Pro models for the enthusiasts, and the Max for those who want everything. But the Air breaks that mold. Apple is positioning it as a middle child, thinner than anything we've seen, lighter than the Pros, and yet carrying power that almost matches them. It's not just an iPhone, it's a statement piece. Apple wants you to look at it and think, how is this even possible? At just 5.5mm, the iPhone 17 Air is thinner than a pencil and even slimmer than Samsung's Galaxy S25 Edge. In the hand, it feels like holding a futuristic prototype that somehow made it to mass production. The lightweight titanium and aluminum alloy frame doesn't just look sleek, it makes the phone weigh under 170 grams, a relief for anyone tired of carrying chunky slabs. But this isn't just about aesthetics. Apple has built a phone that can stand out in a sea of heavy, overpowered devices that often forget about comfort and elegance. The real shocker comes under the hood. Apple is reportedly equipping the iPhone 17 Air with the A19 Pro chip, the same silicon that powers the iPhone 17 Pro models. Yes, it's a slightly scaled-down version with 5 GPU cores instead of 6, but pair that with 12 GB of RAM, and suddenly the Air is no longer the light option. It's dangerously close to Pro-level performance in benchmarks and real-world usage. This is huge, because Apple has historically drawn a very clear line between its Pro and non-Pro models. The Air blurs that line, and it could force competitors to rethink their mid-tier strategy. Now, the iPhone 17 Air comes with a 6.6-inch OLED panel, offering 120Hz promotion refresh rate and always-on technology. For years, Apple kept high refresh rates locked to its Pro models, but the Air breaks that exclusivity. Whether you're scrolling social media, watching movies, or gaming, the fluidity is there. And it's a clear signal that Apple wants to raise the baseline experience. Imagine playing a high FPS game on a phone this thin. It's not just a spec sheet brag, it's Apple making a bold claim: slim doesn't mean weak. Cameras have always been a defining feature of iPhones, and this time Apple has taken a less but better approach. The iPhone 17 Air ditches the ultrawide sensor, leaving you with a 48MP main camera and a 24MP selfie shooter. On paper, that sounds like a downgrade, but in practice it's a calculated decision. Apple is focusing on quality over quantity. The larger sensor, combined with computational photography powered by the A19 Pro, ensures your shots don't just look good, they look professional. And honestly, how often do you really use the ultrawide? Apple knows most people care about a strong main camera and solid selfies, and that's exactly where the Air shines. But perhaps the most radical design change is the camera bump. Instead of the familiar square or rounded cluster, the iPhone 17 Air has a full-width camera bar stretching across the back. It's futuristic, almost sci-fi, and it gives the phone a bold identity. Combined with matte finishes in colors like sky blue, graphite black, cloud white, and a stunning new light gold, the Air looks every bit like the kind of device you'd show off just for its design. Of course, being thin, most obvious one is battery life. The iPhone 17 Air houses a 3000 mAh battery, which is significantly smaller than the 5000 mAh cell inside the Pro Max. On paper, that sounds like a deal-breaker, but thanks to iOS optimizations, the efficiency of the A19 Pro, and Apple's new C1 coprocessor working alongside the N1 wireless chip, the company promises all-day performance. In fact, Apple claims up to 27 hours of video playback. Real-world testing will tell us if that holds up, but Apple is clearly betting that efficiency and software will compensate for the reduced size. Now here's the twist: the iPhone 17 Air might not just match the Pros in performance, but also in style and status. Same premium materials, same flat, edge design language, and thanks to its thinness, it might actually feel more premium in the hand than the Pro models. Apple seems to be creating a phone for people who want Pro power without the Pro bulk or Pro price. Starting at $999, the Air undercuts the Pro models while offering nearly the same performance package. This pricing could be Apple's smartest move yet, especially when competing against Samsung and other Android flagships that continue to climb above the 100 mark. But let's zoom out for a moment. Why does the iPhone 17 Air even exist? Apple doesn't just create new models without a reason. The answer might lie in the MacBook Air. When Apple introduced it, people were skeptical. A thin laptop with less power. It turned into one of Apple's most iconic products. The iPhone 17 Air could be aiming for the same success story. A device that redefines what a phone can be. Thin, elegant, powerful, and yet more accessible than the Pros. Of course, not everything is perfect. Critics will argue about battery limitations and the single rear camera. Hardcore photographers may stick with the Pro, and power users may prefer the Pro Max for its endurance. But here's the catch: The Air isn't trying to be everything for everyone. It's targeting a sweet spot, the vast number of users who want a premium iPhone without paying top dollar or carrying a heavy brick in their pockets. And if Apple nails this, the Air could become the best-selling iPhone of the year. The excitement around the iPhone 17 Air feels different. It reminds me of when Apple used to surprise us with bold design decisions, when every launch carried a sense of, wow. In an era where smartphones all look the same, the Air feels like a breath of fresh air. Literally. And as Apple heads into its September event, all eyes will be on this device. Will it be the next big hit or just a niche experiment? We'll find out soon. So what do you think? Would you trade a slightly smaller battery and one less camera lens for the thinnest, most futuristic iPhone ever made? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's see if the iPhone 17 Air really deserves to be called Apple's boldest move yet.